Relatively speaking, while it may take little money to design a business process, it usually takes this much more for implementation. So it's important to make sure that the design is an idea worthwhile to implement beforehand. One thing that can help you think twice is business process simulation. You can test drive your design and see how well it runs under various scenario combinations. So you can identify bottlenecks, see where it might be a good place for task automation, and quantify benefits from different process designs for comparison. Now let's take a quick look at a simulation example. By simulation, we model some situations on computer visually to see how our process works. And numerically, we can see how much time and money it will spend under these conditions anytime during the simulation. At the end, we can see the final numbers. Let's slow down and see how to go about simulating a business process. First, we begin by modeling our business process. In other words, we visually describe the process using notations of an industry standard called Business Process Modeling Notation, or BPMN for short. For example, here we are looking at a business process diagram about applying for a credit card. The thick blue bars represent participants in the process, such as the applicant. And within the bank, there are the front desk and the back office. This green circle is the starting point. To the far right, the red circle marks the finish point. Between them, the green shapes are tasks to complete as the process moves along, and the two orange diamond shapes are decision points. If you would like to learn more about BPMN, we have another tutorial video that you might be interested in. The link is included in the video description below. In step 2, we will define cost, time, and resources. For each task, we will specify how much it costs and how long it takes to complete. As an example for resources, in the front desk area, let's just say that we have 1 staff, and in the back office area, there are 3 staffs working. If we look at the entire business process diagram again, basically those numbers form another layer of information on top of the process. At the end of the simulation, this information enables us to have quantitative results to evaluate process performance. In terms of resources, for simplicity reason, let's just say that the front desk area has 1 staff, and the back office has 1 as well. In terms of cost and time, let's say this task up here takes 30 minutes to complete and costs $10. For the rest of the task, we have set up the following. In step 3, we define a set of scenarios for load testing. For example, this set is made up of 2 scenarios. What is a scenario? A scenario is defined by a number of a possible path. So what is a path? A path is defined by some combination of tasks and decisions that connect the starting point to the finish point. Here we're going to add 2 scenarios. For the first scenario, Let's account for applications that came with enough information when first received and got approved for the credit card in the end. Click Add here and name it something meaningful. And let's just say there are 30 cases of them. And since this is the only scenario so far, these 30 cases account for 100%. Now it's time to define our path. Before we do it, let's check this checkbox here so that our definition shows visually as well up here. And this is where we would define the path. We're still in the middle of it, and for enough information decision point, I'm going to click yes because it came with enough information initially. And let's continue. And as for the approved decision point, we can say yes as well because the application got approved at the end. As you can see, the path is complete now, and it runs all the way to the finish point. And over here, we have the second scenario defined, and we have 5 cases of them, and that accounts for 40% of the total cases. With this scenario set up, let's run the simulation. And let's pause it for a second. Up to now, the process has taken 4 hours and 15 minutes, and a cost of $175 has been accrued. In the diagram, you see 2 symbols, some green gears and some red triangles. For example, the number 1 here means there's 1 application being processed by this task, and over here there is 1 application waiting to be processed by this task. So let's continue the simulation again. At the end of the simulation, we can see that it takes 3 days, 4 hours and 45 minutes to complete all these scenarios, and it costs $1,870. After the simulation run, we can look at some charts too. There are various charts that we can look at, but let's look at the queue time. This chart tells us how much time applications spent in waiting in line for various tasks to process it during the simulation. So these are the top 3. To improve our process, perhaps we might want to move this task here to the front desk area. So let's move this to the front desk area here in the diagram, and we're going to rerun the simulation and see if there's any difference. As it turns out, the performance is quite similar in terms of time and cost, so it's not worthwhile to do the business process change. Let's do a quick recap on how to simulate a process. First, we model the process. Then we define cost, time, and resources for the task within the process. Then we make up some scenarios or conditions in which to run the simulation. Once again, the software tool we used in the demo is called Business Process Visual Architect, or BPMN for short. It is the simulation edition. It is good for business process modeling and simulation. The product itself costs $999, and with a 1-year maintenance, it costs about $1,200. As for payment options, we accept credit card, check, or wire transfer. Here's the link to our online store. So why not give it a try with no obligation and at 0 cost?